Here are your volunteer representatives appointed by the county council chair, county councilperson, or county executive, and entrusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. We review and approve nominations to the Baltimore County preliminary landmarks list and comment on National Register nominations. Additionally, we are charged with evaluating submissions to the Baltimore County Historics Tax Credit Program that encourages the appropriate maintenance and renovation of designated historic properties. Would the commissioners please introduce themselves by name and county council district or representation? We can go in the order listed on the PowerPoint screen.
Lily Mundroff with Council District 1.
Chris Weston, District 2.
Wendy's not here.
Salisa, so Ray
Scott, District 7.
Phoebe Evans, Latosha, executive appointment.
Jamie Ferguson, executive appointment.
Scott Olupka, planning board rep.
Ed, you're up.
Ed Horde, executive appointment.
And the rest are not here.
Not here yet. Good. Now, please stand and we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. The Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Design Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to the specific application or proposal submission being viewed. We ask for your assistance and understanding so that the discussions do not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of the quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As a commission, we seek to recommend significant buildings and places for landmark consideration to the County Council for their final vote. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places, and review submissions based solely on their merit. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that respects each other personally and professionally. Thank you. Thank you. Staff reminders and purpose.
Sure. Yeah, just for those who are attending as applicants or members of the public, when it's your item or proposal that is up, there are two ways you can offer comments is by selecting, by using the chat feature by selecting host and just send your comment saying you'd like to speak, or just if you don't want to speak, just send me your comment and I'll read it aloud, or you can select the raise your hand icon, which is next to your name, and that'll alert me that you would like to speak. And in addition, the information that's presented in this PowerPoint is just an overview of information that was included in all of the applications. The LPC members receive all of the applications and everything that was submitted a week prior to the meeting for their review. So the information in this PowerPoint is just used as a summary and to help move the meeting along in an organized manner.
Thank you, Kate. Any consideration of changes to today's agenda? Anything we need to think about there? No changes? Good. Minutes of the September 8th meeting, assuming the board is, the commission has had an opportunity to review them. And if there are no additions or corrections, may I have a motion to approve?
So
Motion to
moved.
approve.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Thank you. And we can do this by voice vote, right, Jessica?
Yes.
Jessica, did you get who stated the motion and who gave the second?
Chris Weston stated the motion and Scott seconded. Is that
That's what I,
correct?
that's
Okay.
what I heard.
All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Good. Okay, again, with the motion in front of us, Jessica, could you ask for the voice vote?
Yes, could we please have a voice vote?
And all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll continue to the consent agenda items. Are you up for that, Jessica?
Yes, sir.
Good,
First
thank
we-
you.
First, we have agenda item number 4, the Rocksmith property located at 317 West Seminary Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. This is a non-contributing structure in the Lutherville County Historic District, and the owners would like to make an in-kind asphalt roof replacement. Agenda item number 7, off block property located at 1018 Windsor Road, Sudbrook Park, County Council District Number 2. This is a contributing structure in the Sudbrook Park County Historic District and National Register Historic District. The owners would like to make in-kind porch repairs. Next is agenda item number 9, the Oberek Property Company, located at 4832 Butler Road in Glendon, County Council District 3. This is a non-contributing structure in the Glendon County Historic District for a commercial sign installation. Number 10, the Monologue LLC property located at 209 Central Avenue in Glendon, County Council District 3. This is a contributing structure in the Glendon County Historic District, MIP number 2210. And the owner would like to create 3 new window openings, remove and infill an existing replacement window on the rear elevation.
Thank you. Commission members, are we all okay with the consent agenda, or does somebody have any questions about any of those items? Hearing no questions, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Ed. A second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Lily. And then we'll do this by roll call vote, right, Jessica?
Yes, could I please have Phoebe,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
and John.
And Chris Parts now has joined us, so
Oh,
Chris,
great,
I
great.
joined
Chris
late
Park.
and yeah. I
Oh,
reviewed
sorry,
it.
I'm seeing that Wendy is also with
Wendy
us.
is, yes, I'm here
oh,
too.
good, Wendy,
Sorry.
good.
Right.
Okay,
Welcome.
perfect.
Welcome to
So,
both of you.
Thank
And
you.
I
And
also-
yes for me.
And I also approve it, so the
Perfect.
consent agenda passes.
Right.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And then we will continue with the regular agenda, the final actions summaries. So that will be, the first one will be number 5.
Yes, this is the Karis property located at 504 Sudbrook Lane in Sudbrook Park, County Council District Number 2. This is a contributing structure in the Sudbrook Park County Historic District and National Register Historic District. The owner wishes to replace all 22 windows on the first, second, and attic stories of the home, as well as replace the existing front entry door. Work item number 1 is for the first and second story window replacements. The existing windows are vinyl windows and were installed around 1970. The owner wishes to replace 10 existing vinyl windows on the first story and 8 windows on the second story with new Marvin 4/1 simulated divided light wood windows with exterior aluminum cladding. The applicant notes that all the existing window frames are the same size except the 2 smaller windows on the right side elevation. However, the windows on the first floor are 1 to 2 inches smaller than those on the second story. All proposed replacement windows will be the same size and will fit into the existing frames. The applicant referenced several neighboring homes in Sudbrook Park that have original divided lights and notes that the addition of the lights would be more in keeping with the original windows of the home. The original window style is unknown. Work item 2, attic story window replacements. Applicant wishes to replace the casement windows in the attic story, the 2 gable end windows, and 2 in the shed dormer on the right roof slope. The applicant notes that the existing windows appear to be original to the home as they are simple wood hinge frames. From a photo that staff has provided from their files, a 4-light casement can be seen on the front gable end in 2010. From the photos that the applicant provided, it appears that the glass may have been replaced. Staff noticed what appears to be wood filler where the muntins may have been removed. There are no existing screens in the windows and are actively leaking, and lead paint has been detected. The owner wishes to replace them with 4-light SDL casement windows. However, the owner is willing to have the lead paint removed from the windows, reglaze, and repair the rotten wood framing if necessary. Work item number 3 is for the replacement of the existing front entry door. The owner wishes to replace the entry door and security doors with an upstate door, 90 inches by 36 inches wood door containing 3 lights over 2 vertical panels without the dentile shelf. The applicant notes that the condition of the existing door is fine. However, the applicant feels that the proposed replacement would be more in keeping with the original home. Staff has no issues with the removal of the security door as it is not compatible with the house. The existing front door appears to be an earlier replacement from the 1930s or 1940s. The colonial style does fit into the vernacular style of the house, and staff doesn't necessarily see the need to replace it if it's in good condition. The proposed replacement door style is more of a craftsman bungalow style with 2 vertical panels and lights on the top quarter of the door and doesn't fit with the vernacular style of the house. Staff has included some information on door styles for the commission reference in their meeting materials packet. Our design guidelines state that existing or original doors are to be repaired, and if it is deteriorated beyond repair, then the replacement must be in kind. And where a historic or original door has been previously replaced with a historically inappropriate door, it should be replaced with a more appropriate door style. Staff feels the replacement door style does not adhere to our design guidelines, does not recommend approval of that style. However, staff is happy to assist the homeowner in selecting a more appropriate door style for the house in the historic district. Staff would like to note that the Sudbrook Park Landmarks Committee reviewed is in support of the project as proposed. A letter indicating this was included in your meeting materials packet. So staff recommendations are as follows. To vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for work item 1 and 2 as proposed. Vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the removal of the security door as proposed. Vote to not issue a certificate of appropriateness or notice to proceed for the replacement of the front door. And cites Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Windows and Doors, pages 1 through 8, County Code sections 327405.
Thank you, Jessica. Is the owner here, Mr. and Ms. Karas? Would they like to comment?
Yes, Dina Karas is online, and you're unmuted, Ms. Karas.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, I'm here. I'm in my car in a parking lot on the phone, so hopefully you can hear me.
We can,
I don't,
thank you.
yes, I would appreciate some guidance on the door selection as to something that would be more appropriate, but I would love to change the door as is. And I was not clear on the recommendation for the 3rd floor windows.
On the 3rd for the attic
Yes.
story window
Yeah.
replacements?
Whether it is appropriate to replace those or not.
Yeah, so staff recommended approval for both window, the main house windows and the attic story as
Oh,
proposed.
great. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that's great. If you could help me with an appropriate door selection, that would be terrific.
And I believe we can, aren't there some guidelines that you can forward to them, to her, Caitlin and Jessica? that would help them?
Yeah, we are happy to send some information along to help you pick out a door that is a little bit more in keeping with your house and with the district as a whole.
Great. And then will I need to come back to the committee for approval for that?
I think if a commissioner is willing to make this motion, we would consent to the recommendations and then also delegate authority for action to our professional staff, Caitlin and Jessica, for the door.
Great.
Perhaps with one commissioner added to that to break a tie.
Yeah,
So we have three people.
You can vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness with the condition that
Yes.
the final door style is
Exactly.
consulted with staff, and then the updated design will be sent to us prior to
Yes,
final.
precisely what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So first, though, commissioners, any questions or thoughts? Any?
Yeah, I just had a question about the condition of the existing door that you're wanting to replace. Is that a factor in why you're wanting to replace it, or is it more a style issue?
It's more an aesthetic issue. I'm just not fond of it, but it functions fine. Yeah, it's got many layers of paint on it. It's not particularly attractive.
Once we help pick out a new door, that door may be available on Nextdoor, huh? Exactly. It'll be
Yes.
the next door. So, any other questions, commissioners? Hearing none, do we have a motion? And keep in mind, we're trying to include the door in the motion.
Yeah, I'll offer a motion. So I offer, so I make a motion to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for work item 1 and 2 as proposed. Vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the removal of the security door as proposed, and vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of the front door on the condition that the style is approved by staff.
Good.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Phoebe. Then we can do a roll call vote. Could you call it out, Jessica?
Phoebe,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Chris Hartz,
Yes.
Wendy. Are you unmuted, Wendy?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. And John.
Yes. And Ms. Karras, thank you for being with us tonight. And the staff will be in touch with you going forward
Great.
on the door.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Jessica, are you on for number 6 here?
Agenda item number 6. This is the Kulik property at 9301 Old Hartford Road in Parkville, County Council District number 3. This is a final landmark number 244 Club Hill House. And the property owner is proposing to expand a portion of an existing one-story board and batten 1970s kitchen addition located on the southeast corner. This proposal originally came before the commission at the April 14th, 2022 meeting of the LPC. The LPC voted to not issue a certificate of appropriateness or notice to proceed for the April 2022 proposal, as they felt the design did not meet our design guidelines and asked for better drawings, more photos, and an improved site plan to help them orient themselves with the property and structure. The commission and staff provided the following comments: to drop the roof height slightly and setting the building line back from the historic stone block of the house, aligning windows, reducing the number of windows. A labeled site plan that shows all structures, property lines, streets, neighboring houses, location of the proposed addition, location of driveways, photographs that clearly show the entire structure, clearly labeled elevation drawings and plans that show existing or proposed conditions that show the entire structure. The applicant has returned to the commission with revised plans and additional photos that address the commission's and staff's comments from April 2022. The proposal is extending the footprint of the existing addition and adding a second story. The addition will consist of a mudroom and staircase on the first floor and storage on the second. It will be clad with 3/4 pressure-treated plywood with 1x1 strips to create a board and batten pattern to match the existing irregular pattern on the first and second stories. The proposed windows are 6/6 double-hung Pella black aluminum clad divided lights. The window style will match the others on this addition. The applicant wishes to add a salvage schoolhouse bell on the black standing seam metal roof. The existing entry door will be reused. The overall roof height has been dropped by 8 inches and is set back from the building line of the historic stone portion. The drop can be seen in the proposed south elevation drawings, but not the north and east elevations. It appears that the drop is only on the rear and not the front. The number of windows have been reduced on the east elevation from 2 on each floor to 1 on each floor. The north elevation window was moved to the first floor and aligned with the other windows on the existing structure. The irregular board and batten spacing will be matched on the proposed addition. Staff notes the way the structure is oriented on the property. The location of the addition on the southeast corner is facing away from Old Hartford Road. The most visible portion of the house is the northwest corner. The proposed addition's location and heavy tree cover, depending on the time of the year, it will not be very visible from the public right away. Staff is accepting of the general location of the addition as it is an expansion of an existing addition. Staff notes that while the irregular pattern board and batten is not typical and looks out of place, the pattern is following what already exists. Staff encourages the commission to discuss the roof height drop, which only appears to be on the rear roof slope, not the entire roof. In addition, staff encourages the commission to discuss the visibility of the addition and take that into consideration when making a decision. Staff recommends to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness or notice to proceed, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Additions and Infill, page 3, County Code Section 327405.
Thank you, Jessica. Is Mr. and Ms. Kulik with us?
They are not with us.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, you may remember we've had some discussions about this. They have come back to us with a change to it. I open it to the floor for any questions or comments.
One of the comments that I had was, I think I see the drop of 8 inches in both front and back, but because it's so minimal, it's really hard to see. So if you compare the two, it is shown that it's dropping from the existing ridge line. It's just really minimal, and that's why it's hard to tell. And I guess I just wanted to bring up the fact that the addition is, although it's building on the existing addition that is there, it's starting to compete with that volume, the stone volume. And though there's an attempt to reduce the roof height, it's just not enough. 8 inches does not seem like enough, especially I'm thinking when you're in the field and you're trying to line up things, it might end up being even less than that. But also the fact that the cupola now really competes in height with the existing stone chimney. So maybe if there's a consideration to lessen the roof by a little bit more and also remove the cupola, not have it be there. I don't know.
Other commissioners, how do you feel about those comments?
Well, I think the cupola is actually a bell, right? That he wanted to
Yes, it's a
preserve.
bell.
So it's not just, I mean, it's for a purpose.
Well, I was looking from the Google Earth view. As was noted, it appears that this whole addition is sort of far away and not really visible. The lot looks heavily tree lined. I just don't know that it matters a whole lot in terms of the look of the house that you can barely see most of the time anyway.
Just going back to the reasoning for dropping the roof line, that was to distinguish that from the original roof, is that?
Yeah.
And my guess is that if you drop it anymore, that it makes the interior spaces largely uninhabitable or not very useful. I'm just wondering whether that's something that's really that significant for, I think that what's visible on the house is the front of it where you see the addition and the separation of the stone, and I'm not sure that there's a significant value to that on the rear. But I'm I'm certainly not not opposed to having that, but I'm just not sure that that's something that's terribly significant.
Any other thoughts or comments? So what I'm hearing is, while we may not be excited about the particular addition, we find no particular objection to it at the present time. Is there somebody who would like to put that forth in a motion, if I'm capturing the sense of the group?
Well, I move that we vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness of notice to proceed.
Thank you, Scott. A second?
I would second that.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Could we please have Phoebe's vote?
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Abstain?
Chris Parks,
Yes.
and Wendy,
Yes.
and John.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Right, next we have agenda item number 8, the Francis property. This is located at 510 Sudbrook Lane in Sudbrook Park, County Council District number 2. It's a contributing structure in the Sudbrook Park County Historic District and Sudbrook Park National Register Historic District. The homeowner would like to remove an existing 12 by 18 ground level deck and replace it with a new 20 by 30 deck elevated 8 feet above ground, with the underneath portion of the deck to be used for parking. The deck is to be located off the rear of the home, which sits on an approximately 1.2 acre lot. This proposal was previously submitted to the LPC, which was reviewed at the February 10th, 2022 meeting. The commission voted to not issue a certificate of appropriateness because the design did not meet the county design guidelines. The commission recommended that the applicant revisit the proposal with the following suggestions: to take cues and details from the main home and existing porch rather than the existing deck, and to tie in components of that to make the garage or elevated deck less visually striking. Review the Baltimore County Historic Guidelines and look at other homes in Sudbrook Park to see how the proposal could be improved to better fit within the district and its character. In addition, the commission felt that the February submission had insufficient information and asked that the applicant provide the following items when the proposal returns: a complete site plan to show existing and proposed property conditions, including all driveways, walkways, structures, property lines, and streets; complete elevation drawings that fully show the proposal and its relationship to the main house, and additional information on how the proposal is consistent with the district. A simple site plan was included, as well as engineering plans that show partial elevations and photo simulated renderings. The current proposal is identical to the previous submission in size and location. However, from the submitted renderings, the proposed siding color and material has been updated to match the existing color of the main house, using shingles instead of lattice. Staff notes some inconsistencies between the engineering drawings, the simulated renderings, and materials list submitted. The details from the engineering drawings include The deck structure will be constructed of pressure-treated pine, adjustable steel jack posts, and PT glulam beams with concrete footings. Asphalt will be laid at the base to support vehicle storage. The sides will be sheathed in plywood covered with lattice on 3 sides, and 3 entry doors will be placed on the front facade. The proposed height of the deck is 8 feet with an additional 3 feet deck railing for a total height of 11 feet. The deck floor will be covered with composite decking board material. The applicant did not provide a clear narrative description of the proposed work that outlines the correct exterior material information. The list provided and the information on the simulated photo renderings are not consistent. Staff asked the commission to clarify the exterior materials that the applicant is proposing and that they are updated on the plans to reflect what is to be built. The Sudbrook Park Landmarks Committee has reviewed the proposal and raised several concerns on the structure's size and compatibility with the neighborhood and historic home, but some of these were addressed via email and they unanimously voted to support the project. A copy of this letter was included in your meeting materials packet. Overall, staff is accepting of the general location and appreciates that it's not directly connected to the house. The exterior material change from lattice to shingles is a great improvement. However, staff still has concerns over the size and feels that more elevation drawings and more details are needed. A garage or deck of this size is not typical in Sudbrook Park. Since the construction is in close proximity to the house, elevation drawings should show the proposed structure and its relationship to the existing house. Staff would like to see a rendering of the proposed structure as seen from the front or the street. The photo simulations make it seem like it will be visible through the side porch. In addition, staff has concerns, not necessarily an LPC issue, over potential runoff from the interior asphalt floor. Since it has a deck flooring, water will trickle down to the interior. The potential runoff could impact the main house's foundation and cause water issues to the sides of the structure itself. The LPC in the past is less stringent in its review of decks because they are considered to be reversible. As stated in our design guidelines, fences and landscapes, page 4. Decks are generally open and simple structures. However, this is more substantial and feels more permanent than a typical deck. If it is closed off and will have an asphalt floor and should be viewed as an accessory structure rather than a deck. Staff urges the commission discuss the structure size and compatibility with the district, as well confirm the proposed materials. Staff's recommendation is to vote to not issue a certificate of appropriateness or notice to proceed, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Fences and Landscapes, pages 1 through 5, County Code Section 327-405.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Are the owners or Mr. and Ms. Francis with us tonight?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Francis, you're unmuted.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have anything you'd like to add as the commission starts its deliberations?
I mean, I gave everything that that they requested for. I mean, I even changed the material to everything is pressure treated as what they wanted. And I don't know what else. If you want anything else, I'm willing to see if it's possible for me to do it. But I think at this point I gave everything that was asked of me, and because based on that, the Sudbrook committee unanimously approved it for your further approval.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Commission members, any questions on this new rendering?
I have a couple of issues. Could you bring up the that's the elevation. Well, I go back to that one. What I have a concern with is I assume you're going to have beams and columns, and you're going to have something like a 2x12 running across, and then you're going to do tell me how you're going to do the flooring. Is it just deck with gaps between it that the water will run onto your car and onto the inside face of the walls? Is that what's happening?
No, it's going to be tongue and groove. I have the same kind of material on the porch. If you go back to the previous picture, the porch originally historically has the same kind of a tongue and groove material.
But it has a roof over it, no?
No. If you see the porch, the porch has 2 levels, right? The ground level actually.
You're talking about the deck.
Yes, the porch, the deck is going to have the same kind of flooring as the porch has, where it's going to be tongue and groove. The boards are going to be tongue and groove, so it's not going to leak water through it.
Oh, yes, it will.
Yes, I'm okay with that because I'm not.
And it's, I mean,
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not trying to make this a waterproof place. I'm mostly looking for protecting from sun and the sun's heat. So it's
let's
not
go back to
the
that. Can we go back to that other elevation, please? The one that shows the front. Go by the next one. Yeah, there. Well, if you have 2x, framing material of 2x10s or something that frame across the thing, you don't have enough room there to get that to fit in, I don't believe, unless I don't see any wall sections or any details that show how that's going to work. But it's not going to look like that when you build it. Somebody needs to do a section through the wall to show the structure, because you're going to have, 10 to 12 inches of structure. You're going to have the decking on top, and what you're showing is maybe 6 inches above the doors, and you're going to open those doors up, and you're going to see wood structure coming down into that space, and I'm not sure you have enough room to get cars in there. I mean,
so
maybe you do.
the drawing has that. The drawing has the right measurements on the drawing. So on the top over here,
sections. Let me see.
yeah, if you can blow this out, the drawing, the picture on the center top, and this was done professionally by the Ricestown Lumber Company. You see that it says 8 feet, and then on top of that, yes.
The upside down thing. Okay.
Yes.
8
Yeah.
feet.
Because of COVID, they had a broken machine and it had it upside down. Yep. Now it's right side up. So if you can blow that up, you see it says 8 feet over there. Yeah. So that's 8 feet all the way to the floor of the deck.
So I think, Ed, to your point, that you would probably end up with a 7-foot bottom of
Yeah.
framing.
This elevation shows
that.
more than the other. I was always looking at the
Right.
other one, which shows no dimension.
Yes,
This
that's right.
has enough room for a dimension of structure.
Mhm.
I'm very concerned about having just a tongue and groove deck and nothing below it. I think you're asking for. It won't last long. The interior walls, water will drip through, water will leach through onto if you have vehicles in there. I hope you don't care about the finish on them. But the other thing I care about is the walls, which I think are going to rot relatively quickly inside, because there's no waterproofing on the inside part of those walls, and there's water dripping down the face. So I think it's someone that knows construction really ought to help you with this, because I don't think this, and my concern is what it's going to look like 5 years from now. It's going to start rotting and start being an eyesore in the neighborhood. So that's my concern.
I'm going to jump ahead a step and say that this doesn't comply with zoning because this is an accessory structure that is not located behind the rear foundation line. So this is all going to have to go through zoning and get a variance to be constructed, at which point you're going to need a full set of architectural drawings. So I guess go ahead and get started with that.
And I think nothing shows what the material is on the other walls except one Photoshop rendering, which shows shingles. It looks like cedar shingles at an angle. So I don't think that's what he really wants to do. I think that just may be an attribute.
Yeah, it's okay.
If all faces have the shingles on it, that'd be interesting, but it would be nice to show it an elevation and show it with the house, so we show how it relates to the house. I just think there's not enough here. I'm not comfortable approving this.
Any other
I think
comments
it's
from other commissioners?
a deck it's an accessory structure trying to pass as a deck.
I would like to add on to that same notion that the drawings, in fact, call it a deck and a garage. And it's clearly a garage because you're parking cars there. So, you know, I mean, so I was going to say the zoning is important, and the fact that if LPC was to consider this as a garage, the whole additions and the guidelines for additions and infill and how the face of the garage sits behind that that side elevation is important. I think you're not including here, there is an existing garage 90 degrees from this.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I think that's critical in terms of understanding kind of what's going on between these two. And if we consider the height, the doors, like Ed was mentioning, the height of the doors and the structure and then the decking, you're really going to be much taller with that railing. So the relationship between the side porches of the house and this deck in the back is going to be very different. So
It's
zoning
off. It's
first
going to
and
be off
then,
by about 6 to 8 inches.
well, you might find out that you'll be more once you know the structure, because you might need like deeper LVLs with that whole big doors going through there. So maybe go with zoning first, see what, you know, with the whole garage. And yeah, I would not call it a deck if it's not, if it has enclosed underneath with cars
Are
parked.
there,
So,
I have
so,
one other question. Are there steps up to the deck on top? Is that
Mhm.
true? Is that, I don't see how you get up. Oh, I see, maybe.
There's
Yeah.
the
Those are
plan,
steps
yeah.
up. All right,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right.
So I'm hearing some sentiment from the commissioners to follow staff's recommendation with some advice, Mr. Francis. It might help you in putting this together in a little more complete fashion and also prevent you some problems with zoning, and maybe have a conversation with them as well. So is there a commissioner who would like to present a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And the motion would be?
I make a motion to not issue, to follow staff recommendation and not issue a certificate of appropriateness.
Good. Thank you.
And recommendation to follow with zoning first.
Yeah, as a side recommendation. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then a second for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Wendy. Jessica, can we continue to the vote?
Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Scott. Are you unmuted, Scott?
You're muted.
Thanks. Lily,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
and John.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And thank you, Mr. Francis. We'll look forward to hearing from you again.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 11, the vestry of St. James Episcopal Church property located at 3100 Moncton Road, My Lady's Manor, County Council District number 3. This is a contributing structure in My Lady's Manor National Register Historic District and final landmark list number 27, St. James Protestant Episcopal Church. St. James Church was added to the final landmarks list in 1978. The brick church was constructed in a Maryland vernacular interpretation of Georgian ecclesiastical architecture, was initially finished in 1755. Extensions were added in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. The applicant wishes to replace the existing cedar shingle roof with a new copper roof. The proposed roof will consist of 15-inch hand-formed pans with approximately 1-inch high double-locked random transverse seams. The applicant did provide a photoshopped image of the church with an aged copper roof material in the application. In addition, an additional photo of the copper roofing material was submitted. The application notes that the half-round sacristy has always had a flat seam metal roof. The applicant feels that the longevity of a copper roof will outlast a cedar shingles or composite cedar shingle. In addition, the applicant notes that copper standing seam roofs were used on buildings in the mid-18th century. While this is true, it is more commonly seen on high-style churches than in large urban areas than on rural churches. Flat seam metal roofs were common on domes and round architectural elements in the 18th century. Copper roofing was imported from England during that time and was not readily available in rural areas. Wood shingles are most likely the original material used on the church. Department of Planning records show that the roof was replaced in the 1840s, 1940s, 1970s, and early 2000s. The earliest photo we have on file is from Habs documentation from the 1930s, which show a wood shingle roof. The replacement of the existing wood shingles with a copper standing seam roof doesn't follow our historic preservation design guidelines. On page 8 of the roofing chapter of our design guidelines, existing historic roofing materials must be retained and repaired. If cannot be repaired, it must be replaced in kind. In kind means using the same material or choosing an alternative material where the appearance, texture, color, and other visual qualities are similar to the existing roof material. In addition, our guidelines state that the LPC may consider a different material if the original material is no longer available, the existing material is not original, or the roof is not visible from the street. Regardless, any decision to use an alternative material should be weighed against the primary concern of maintaining the building's historic and architectural character, as stated in the National Park Service's Preservation Brief Number 4, Roofing for Historic Buildings. Roofs and its materials are character-defining features on historic structures and are often indicative of the architectural style and era that the structure was built. A material change greatly impacts the overall visual appearance, diminishing its historical and architectural integrity. This will be very noticeable when you go from the textured appearance of the wood shingle roof to the bright, smooth, shiny, and vertical lines of the standing seam metal roof. While staff understands the applicant's concerns of future roof maintenance, the current proposal doesn't meet our historic guidelines. An in-kind replacement using wood shingles or a composite or synthetic wood shingle would make the proposal consistent with our historic guidelines and maintain the architectural integrity of the church. Staff asked the commission discuss alternative materials while weighing against the concern of maintaining the building's historic and architectural character. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of the existing roof with the condition that the material be an in-kind wood or an aged wood composite shingle that matches the existing in size, texture, and other visual qualities. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, roofs, pages 1 through 13, County Code Section 327405.
Thank you, Jessica. Is there anybody from the church with us this evening?
Yes, the applicant, Reverend Joe Cochran, is online, and I'm going to unmute him. You're unmuted.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening, Reverend Cochran. It's John Holman. Is there anything you would like to add to that introduction?
Well, I have with me our junior warden, Don Greenewalt, a parishioner at the church, who oversees our physical plant, all facilities here at St. James. And so we're both here tonight seeking approval for the copper roof. What the staff has covered, I think, is in keeping with what we've submitted. And as I've said in our application, for us, this is a stewardship issue, a long-term maintenance issue. And we believe that the copper roof, even though we haven't seen a copper roof on this building before, would be in keeping with the time the building was built. I understand this is a rural church. The example I think of as a church that has a copper roof that was built in the 1740s is Christ Church, Philadelphia. And obviously that was in the middle of a large urban area. But we're hopeful that we can get approval for a copper roof because it will help to maintain the building into the next century. We're told by our contractor this roof could last us 70 to 100 years. And so we're hoping for that kind of longevity in the roof for the parish and for the building. We're also mindful that the copper roof is going to be more expensive than cedar, though cedar is quite expensive these days. And so, normally if I were approaching a project like this, I would think copper is out of our range of financial ability. But cedar is so expensive these days that the price points are pretty close. We're $20,000 or $30,000 more to put the copper on than cedar. So the pricing is interesting these days, and has helped us to think, well, if we could put copper on, that would really, really help to maintain the building for a long time.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioners, any questions, any thoughts? One that had come up in previous conversations was how detailed a history do you have of the church? Is there a potential that there was a copper roof sometime in the history of the church?
Yeah, we think probably not. I mean, we are confident there was some kind of metal on the sacristy, which is on the back side of the church and out of view of the road. But on the main part of the church, we don't have any evidence that there was ever a metal roof on it. So no, we don't have that. We suspect it's always been some kind of wooden shingle. What kind of wood? I'm sure that depended over time. When we first approached this project, one thing I looked at initially was, okay, was there ever copper, or were copper standing seam roofs even used in the 18th century? And my limited research indicated they were. And I have no reason to doubt what the staff has said, and that is that these were roofs that were put on in mainly urban areas.
Yeah.
So again, I guess I would say no, we don't have any evidence that there was a standing seam metal roof on the building other than on the sacristy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Commissioners, any other comments?
I went on Google Maps and looked at another church that's very similar to this that I drive by from time to time, and it's the St. Thomas Church, which is on Garrison Forest Road. And it too has a wood shingle roof, and it seems to be very important to the texture of the outside of the church to have a shingled roof. I wonder if the church has had a structural engineer look at the roof to see if it could support a slate roof.
Yeah, yes, we have, and it will not.
Will not, okay.
And what about a synthetic shingle roof? It's a lighter weight typically than slate, but
Those
it
two
has
are
a
2.5 times the weight of cedar, and we're doubtful about that.
So I'm hearing some sentiment from the commissioners in agreement with our staff that the wood roof sounds like it would be more consistent historically. Any other commissioners want to weigh in on that?
I have one other question. They also make copper shingle roofs, where you could get the texture of of a shingle, but the durability of copper. Is that something that you've considered? And I don't know if that's something that would be a possible marriage of both ideas.
I don't think we are aware of that. I don't think we've investigated that. I am worried a bit about then I think it does put us out of a price range. I don't know, but that's something we
Mhm.
might could look at.
That, I mean, they are basically they're prefabricated kind of interlocking shingles.
Right.
It might be a little bit more labor. I'm not sure that it's a whole lot more material.
Oh,
I don't,
okay.
I don't know how much, what the staff thinks about that, but um, I'm just thinking that that might be an option that could, um, blend the two concerns there.
I'm a, I'm a little concerned with that direction. I just think this
Mhm.
is such a, an amazing building from the mid 1700s. I think we should be following and continuing on and following the guidelines, which are to put on a roof that's matches what's been there probably forever. So
Mhm.
I think, although I don't, I sympathize with what you're saying, Chris, but
Mhm.
I'm just thinking this is it's such a wonderful building and it's in great shape and it needs a new roof. And I think it should be the cedar shingles.
Mhm.
I agree
Well,
with
Ed, we kind of agree with you. However, what we're looking at is the sustainability of the building itself into the future.
I hear you.
If you think that 20 or 25 years is far into the future, well, it really isn't. And we're looking at a diminishing parish. We're
Mhm.
looking at diminishing attendance. We're looking at people that have hair the color of us, and that's keeps going down and down and down. So we're very, very cognizant of the future, and we want to keep St. James as it is. And the best way to do it would be to put on a roof that would last way into the future.
I understand. I hear you. But we're
Um,
faced with some guidelines that we are supposed to follow. And I mean, Chris's direction is something I'm I sympathize with, and I would love to say yes, it's a great idea, but I mean, it will give you the texture, but it won't give you initially it'll be shiny copper as it's shown as you show on the sample on this. It's up on the screen now,
Mhm.
but it will patina over time. It can patina to a dark color, and it can also patina to a turquoise color. So I'm not I'm not convinced on that, but
Mhm.
I'll bow to the other commissioners.
Just to kind of piggyback on Ed's comments, thank you for your thought of trying to preserve the building into the future. We confront those conversations monthly in our work, but there is a balance between preserving, just putting up concrete over everything and a metal roof over a historic structure, and the balance of maintaining it as a historic structure, pleasing to the eye and consistent with the history of the building. What I am hearing from the commissioners, and I'm catching the sense of the meeting right, is that perhaps a little more research might be appropriate on some sort of shingle and some sort, maybe a synthetic shingle that might also have some extra durability. Um, so if that's where the commissioners feel the conversation is going, could I have a motion to accept the staff recommendation?
I'll make a motion to approve the staff recommendation to not approve it based on the recommendation from staff.
Staff is approved it with the condition that the material that they rethink that would be an in-kind wood or aged wood composite.
Yeah,
Seems like
I
so.
think we can
So
approve that if they want to go ahead with that, but otherwise, I think
You don't have to follow our recommendations if you don't want to approve the replacements, and if they want the applicant to look into different types of synthetic or composite shingles or other alternatives, you can do that as well.
I would say that if you pick the wrong synthetic material, you could be even worse off than doing this in copper. I mean, there's a wide variety and grades of synthetic shingles, and some of them really miss the mark because there's not a lot of variation in color. So you get this really monochromatic thing that doesn't resemble a natural material at all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not wild about the synthetics.
So Ed's proposal to approve the staff recommendation is sitting out there without a second, but the other option, as Caitlin offered, is to change that and just to say we will not issue a certificate of appropriateness. We can change the motion at this point since it does not have a second.
Mhm.
So can we choose to only make issue only with in-kind replacement?
Yeah, can we do that?
Approve that.
Motion to approve a wooden roof and all other materials to come back before the commission.
So I guess my suggestion on that, Chris, would our best parliamentary way would be just to say we do not approve, and please hear us on what we think you need to come back with as an in-kind would, and then revisit it when they have come back to us.
But that's dismissing a possible option of a synthetic. Then is that correct?
If we decline to accept the recommendation and decline to do a certificate of appropriateness at all and just decline it, frankly, it starts with a clean slate. They can come back with whatever they choose, but the conversation is tended toward in-kind wood or something that would have the same appearance and durability. And so
They wanted a synthetic shingle, then they would need to tell it. There are a lot of options in street.
Yeah, we would need to have that specifically.
So they would need to come back, and essentially what we're asking for, if we decline it with the thoughts and minutes that they have heard tonight, it is with the provision, I guess, that we would like you to have a new roof. We just want it to be appropriate and durable for you. And so we suggest you do a little more work. And we also thank you for the work you have done. I understand you've already done quite a bit and have a great sense of the history of the building, which we appreciate. I hope they still support the jousting tournament in your front lawn. That's a great part of Maryland history. But,
Mr. Chair.
so we still need a motion, though.
I have one question before we make the motion, though, and is there a timeliness in terms of the roof replacement from the church's perspective?
Yes.
Could you
Can you still
expand on
hear
that?
us? Can
Yeah,
you still
yeah.
hear us?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, are you wanting to get the roof replaced within a certain, time
Yes, we would
period?
like an approval of the wood shingle so we can proceed because the roof is in very bad condition.
So your preference would be to have the wood shingle replacement if we're not going to approve the copper, to just do the wood shingle replacement then?
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay.
We're not interested in synthetic materials.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful to know.
Yes, thank you, Phoebe, for.
Okay, so in that case, I would make, do we still have the motion on there to offer a certificate?
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay.
Yeah, we have no motion, no seconded motion, Phoebe.
Okay,
So you
okay,
can
so I
start.
could just make a motion? Okay, so my motion would be to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of the existing roof with the condition that the material be an in-kind wood shingle that matches the existing size, texture, and other visual qualities. So it does not include the wood composite, it's just the wood, the in-kind wood.
Second that.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. Jessica, could you do the roll call vote?
Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
and John.
Yes, and again, thank you, Pastor, and your the team. We appreciate your thoughts and working with us on it.
I had one other thought. I haven't seen them in my lifetime, but cypress shingles, are those possible? I mean, cypress is a wood that's very,
Yeah,
very durable.
in kind could mean any species of wood. It could
Right.
be cedar or something, cypress, whatever. As long as it, the size, texture, and other visual qualities are similar to what exists, any wood species would be acceptable.
That might be a little more expensive, but it might be longer lasting. I know the new fast growth woods they're doing are just not lasting long at all anymore. So maybe another species of wood might be better.
Thank you for that thought, Ed, and again, thank you to the team from the church for joining us. And then our professional staff will be in touch, and you can be in touch with them on the ultimate type of wood you choose. And then on to item number 12, Jessica.
Yes, this is our last agenda item, the O'Hara property located at 1603 South Rolling Road in Relay, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing structure in the Relay County Historic District. And the owner wishes to add 2 work items to a previously submitted Part 2 tax credit application that the LPC approved in 2021. The additional items include to install a cellar door and make in-kind replacements to a rear porch or patio roof structure. So work item number 1 for the cellar door. The cellar opening is located on the rear kitchen addition. It is currently covered with a makeshift wood door. The applicant is proposing to install a steel Gordon hinge bulkhead door. Work item number 2 for the patio roof and columns. The rear patio metal roof and column is located off the rear in the L between the main house and the rear kitchen L addition. The roof structure is currently deteriorated and falling down. There's currently only one remaining wood Doric fluted column and is being supported by temporary supports. The applicant wishes to remove the existing roof structure and wood column and reconstruct the roof using in-kind materials. The new roof will be covered with metal sheeting and supported by 2 new round wood columns. No additional information about the condition of the remaining wood column was provided. From the photos, it looks repairable. The replacement columns proposed doesn't match the existing. There's no fluting, and the door capital doesn't appear to have the dimensions of the design. Staff recommends conditional approval for work item number 2, that the existing column be retained and repaired, and that the new column match the existing. Staff recommendation to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness with the following conditions. For work item 2, that the existing column be repaired instead of replaced, and that the replacement of the missing column match the existing in size, dimension, style, and other visual qualities. Product information about the replacement column shall be submitted to staff, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, roofs, pages 1 through 13, windows and doors, pages 1 through 8, County Code Section 327405.
Thank you, Jessica. So we have before us the proposal from the staff that the column is the main point where they want a review of that and brought into line with the existing column. Any commissioner questions or comments?
I didn't see in the application any discussion on what the ceiling of this porch will be, because they will remove it all. So maybe if we write the motion to include our recommendation on replacing it in kind with heated board.
The applicant's online if you would like to ask questions or if he has any clarification.
Oh, thank you, Caitlin.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hara, you're unmuted if you'd like to address the commission.
Yeah, currently it's open, as you can see on the third picture from left to right, and it would remain the same. The sheathing would be plywood, beneath the metal roof.
This is Scott. I have a question. What was the roof? Was this whole porch added on at some point? I mean, it just doesn't fit the rest of the house to sort of start with.
I have no idea when it was constructed. I would only guess that it was around, I would say, just guessing and a little bit of knowledge of the way it was constructed and the material, that it was probably built when the addition, which is the rear structure that is outside of the building, that looks like an addition. It's in a kitchen, and they probably added that along with the patio that's there. Currently, the metal roof on top is covered with just a regular rolled roofing material like shingles today. So I think they did a makeshift repair job to try and extend the life of the existing metal roof.
Mm-hmm.
So metal roofs typically last pretty long. So I would say that it's if the house was built in the 60s, 1860s, that it was probably at the turn of the century when that was put on. So it's probably at least 100 years old.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a sense of how old the column that they want to say how old that is and whether that was original to the house.
Any other questions or thoughts?
Could the owner speak more to the condition of the column?
I don't know whether it's totally salvageable. I didn't consider salvaging the column, but of course I would make every effort to. Just taking it down because there's no support, that it has to be done carefully, obviously, and we can put some supports underneath of that. The other one was just completely falling apart, and then it just fell off. So I just didn't really examine the condition and whether or not it's gonna, stay together as we disassemble the roof that's there.
Any other questions? Are we ready for a motion? Anybody ready for a motion? Or do we want to, do we have more to talk about?
I can offer a motion. So I would move to follow staff recommendations to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness with the following condition: that for work item 2, that the existing column be repaired instead of replaced if possible, and that if a replacement of the replacement of the missing column match the existing in size, dimension, style, or other visual qualities, and that product information about the replacement column be submitted to staff. And I'll add that if the existing column is in such deteriorated shape that the replacement column additionally match what was there.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. And Jessica, can we do a roll call?
Hey, could we please have Phoebe,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Lily,
No.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yeah.
Wendy,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. O'Hara, for being with us tonight and helping us sort that out. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I thank everyone. But I just wanted to clarify, we didn't talk about item 1, but that was just approved, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and staff will be in touch with you
Yep.
to
Thank you
work
so
out the
much.
details on the other parts.
All right, perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We also have a property that was viewed for tax credits. Jessica, do you want to speak to that, or Caitlin?
I can do it. I'll give Jessica a break. So we reviewed one tax credit application that had an MHT Part 2 approval for an HVAC system replacement at 7003 York Road, which is a contributing structure in the Stoneleigh National Register Historic District. And that was it for last month. And no other business. So final remarks.
Hearing none, thank you all, of course, but can we have a motion to end the meeting? Special thanks to Caitlin and Jessica for working through it all and presenting it for us. We appreciate that. Motion to end?
Move that we end the meeting.
And a second?
Second.
And a voice vote? Hallelujah.
Aye.
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 Hi.
All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You.
Bye.
Caitlin,
Yes.
you still there?
Yeah. Okay, Vince.
Yeah, I just got, I didn't have access to my wife's computer. She came in from her meeting and she got me on her computer.